I'm here with Darrin Robinson.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about yourself. By the way, I met Darrin only a couple of days ago, first by the phone, finally got to meet him in person today. And love everything that you stand for.
Thank you.
And so glad to meet you in person. But go ahead, tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Darrin Robinson. I am a former recipient of the ideologies of the Democrat Party that keeps you under a spell and keeps you mentally confused about who and what you really are and what's right and what's wrong. And so, man, I've been going around with the Republican Party now for about a month or so, and really just finding out what this this side was all about, and more so the conservatives. But just waking up, coming out of that fog, coming out of the stuff that the Democrats was telling us about, what they were actually standing for and making us believe all this black and white stuff, man, it's been a really eye-opening experience. And so I'm newly running into this side of life, really, and finding out that there are some great people that love God, that love what the Bible stands for, love what family stands for, and we got a president that's putting all the policies in place that we need to come from up under bondage. We're getting prison reform, we're getting schools, school choice, we're getting HBCUs funded. I don't see what the problem is. We've been asking for this, so I'm loving it.
Yeah. So tell your background. You came from the hood.
Yeah, I came from the hood, man. I grew up in the hood. All of my brothers ended up going to prison. My oldest brother is the only one who's met his father before, but his dad was currently spent 99 years in prison, and so that was our role model. So we grew up in the hood. We grew up rough. My mom, she ran away from home when she was 13 years old, and she got raped, got on drugs, got on the streets, and just did the best she could with 5 boys with no father in the house. And so we lived in the hood, the hood. There's people that live in the hood, but then there's people that make the hood the hood. And my brothers was those guys that made the hood the hood. They were robbing banks, gas stations, people on the streets, just whoever they could rob in order to survive. And they end up going to juvenile jail and prison, but nobody was ever asking what happened. Nobody ever asked how many times were we beat, how many times were we locked in the basement, how many times we had to go without eating, how many times my mom left us in the house by ourselves. Nobody was asking about us being locked in the basement and all that kind of stuff. So we just grew up angry. We grew up rough. We grew up screaming for help. A lot of us screaming that the justice system wasn't right. There's domestic violence in the home. Screaming that there's bad education, and we just in poverty, poor. Walking out of our homes, seeing drug addicts and liquor stores, and we've been screaming that for years. And so I was fortunate enough with the hand of God to be on my life to graduate high school, graduate college, and became a CPS investigator. And started doing that for a long time, and then working in the Texas Juvenile Justice Department and working there and being able to study the mindset of the people where I came from. And so I never still really got into politics because I just seen that we had been screaming so many years that we needed help, and nobody seemed like they was listening. Well, here recently I saw the murder rates and stuff start to go up. And when you are growing up in the hood, a lot of times you have a lot of anger, violence, and rage, and hate, and all of that stuff in your heart. And all the government has to do is play on that, prick on that, and he'll stir up, some enemies. And so I started looking, I was like, what is going on? And when I looked up, I saw that the government, mainly the Democrats, were saying, oh, look at him. They're saying they're killing black people. Or look at him, they're trying to take your money. They're just pointing fingers at Donald Trump and saying what he's doing, while he was actually making policies that we needed. We needed school reform. We needed our fathers to come home out of prison. He put that in place. We needed school choice, We needed better schools to go to. We needed every last thing that Trump has been doing. And we have been screaming for it and asking for it. And so when I looked at that, I was like, I'm Trump all the way. I'm Trump 2020. Putting prayer back in the schools. We need prayer in our schools. They are messed up. They are jacked up. It's bad education. It's fights. It's teenage pregnancies all over the place. And Planned Parenthood is there to start killing the babies when these teens get pregnant. It's a complete mess in the hood, and we've been screaming that for years. And Trump is the first president that's doing something about it. And the sex trafficking. When I was a CPS investigator, I've seen so many cases of sex trafficking, and they need help. Trump did that. So when I started seeing all that truth, I was just like, you know what, I'm in.